All right, like you said, we're both here from security. Some of the things we're going to talk about today are fire safety, code pink and what that stands for, green alerts, code gray or tornado warnings, and just basic security information that would be helpful. Okay, we'll start out with fire safety. Fire safety is everyone's responsibility. Doesn't matter if you're an employee, volunteer, everybody can be involved in fire safety. In the fire safety program and all the details can be found on Mercy's portal. There is also information in this red book, which is located right outside the door here. It goes through all the codes, all the fire safety, so it has all the information on there also. What is a fire? At Mercy we call it a red alert or code red. That's for a fire emergency. And at Mercy a fire is defined as visible flame, visible smoke, or visible charring. So you might ask, what do you do if there is a fire? Mercy uses a RACE acronym to identify the steps that should be taken if a fire is discovered. I'm going to go ahead and go through all the steps here. R stands for rescue. A is alarm. C is contain. And E is evacuate or extinguish if you're trained by Mercy. Now we're going to go through and explain each one. Rescue, you want to remove patients and or staff from the immediate fire danger. Alarm, activate the nearest fire alarm pole station, which there should be various throughout the building here. You want to dial 911, tell them the location of the fire, the address of the building, the kind of fire, extent of fire, and your name, obviously. Contain, you just want to close all the doors, keep the fire contained in the area. And evacuate, you want to evacuate patients and or staff to the adjacent smoke compartment, which means you just want to get them out of the area. And extinguish is to extinguish the fire if you're trained in that. And now I'm going to go over the fire safety equipment, the alarm pole stations, fire extinguishers. I'm pretty sure there's Annunciator panels here at the hospice house. There's also strobe lights, and we'll talk about the exits and the stairwells, and the oxygen control panels. This is what our alarm pole stations look like. Basically, there'll be a little thing on there, you can pull it down. This activates the fire alarm. It also notifies the fire department of the fire, and it'll send the fire response team. And it also closes the compartment doors, so it'll actually automatically close all of the fire doors. This is a fire extinguisher, obviously. Usually they're hanging on the wall or will be inside a glass type box. And this is the Annunciator panel we were talking about. It actually tells you where the fire is. We're actually able to acknowledge an alarm if it's a false alarm, or if we get any kind of fire alarm, we can actually silence it on this panel. It's very helpful to tell you where the fire's at, and it'll tell you an exact location. It'll also tell you if it's a smoke alarm that's been activated, a pole station, or a flow alarm. This is the strobe lights that we have. It signals the fire alarm. This will actually blink, and they'll all go off if there is a fire. And it'll come up with a computer-generated message on the Annunciator panel, which will tell the location of the fire. And this is just showing the exit stairwell. I don't think you have any stairwells here at the hospice house. So it's good to know your evacuation routes. And this is a oxygen, what is it?
shutoffs?
Oh, the oxygen shutoffs. I'm assuming they have some of these out here. You want to know where these oxygen shutoff valves are and the areas served are within your department. The fire response team is going to be the local fire department. Follow-up responses possible from security, and maintenance is a big part of our fire team also. They respond to all of our fires at the hospital, and they're good contact people also. If a fire alarm has been activated, you want to check the Annunciator Panel to determine the exact location. Search for the cause of the alarm if it is in your area. And follow department-specific procedures.
I'm going to give you a little more than what it tells you about here, but everything I'm going to tell you about, for the most part, has to do with your work or your time at the hospital. But maybe it's because I'm an ex-police officer. Maybe it's because of the times we have today. When I'm with my family at Walmart or at Hy-Vee or at church, it doesn't matter. I'm still thinking about a lot of this stuff in the back of my mind. What would you do if this situation happened? So we'll start out with a code pink or a code nap. If you hear that paged overhead, that's a kidnapping. Okay? That's essentially what it is. It used to be that we dealt with somebody, the first thing you think of at the hospital if you hear code pink or code nap is somebody's tried to take a baby out of the birthplace, somebody's tried to take a child out of pediatrics. Well, we've had to broaden our thoughts. That could be any patient in the hospital that doesn't want to go with the person they're with, okay? It could be an adult down to that little baby. So listen to the page completely, because the way the page is set out, they'll come out code pink, code nap, 24-year-old female, 24-year-old white female. That is the person who's being kidnapped from, we'll pick 31. It worked good for the fire. They're having a bad day. So that's what the security is. When this is called, we ask everybody available to go to a door, whatever door you're close to, and we don't want anybody coming or leaving unless they have on a security uniform or a police department uniform. We've never had a real code pink at the hospital. Okay? We do drills, and the last one we did, one of our security officers who's been there 13, 14 years went in plain clothes, and night staff didn't necessarily know her because she's worked days, and she was stopped before she got off the birthplace floor. Almost tackled. For the safety of the person being kidnapped, we are not allowing any information to go out. So if Channel 9 News comes up to you and says, hey, I see you got the hospital locked down, what's going on? Was a baby kidnapped? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I was told to stay here at this door and not let anybody in or out. I'm not letting you in. I'm not letting anybody out. You need to talk to marketing. They're the ones that deal with that. Okay? Now, it says staff has a designated spot that they respond to. Okay? Security does not have a door. We have to take the outside perimeter. But all the nurses within the hospital, all the maintenance people, everybody available has a door that they go to. All I'm asking from you guys as a volunteer, because you don't have a specific area that you're going to sit in this chair every day you go, you have multiple areas that you're going to be. Okay? So we don't ask that you take one area. But if you're sitting at the door for, let's use the hospital, if you're sitting at the pavilion entrance, watch the pavilion entrance till somebody comes and says, hey, I got it, thank you. Okay? That's all we're asking. And don't get hurt. You know, if they come running down the hallway, the best thing you can do is pick up the phone and say, hey, they went that way. Get the best description you got, license plate, car, anything you can get is helpful, okay? I tell everybody dial 0. If you want security, dial 0. But in the back of your mind, if you're better at remembering stuff than I am, 6111 is the hotline going into the operator, okay? That's the line if you got a code blue, if you got a green alert, if you any of these, if you're reporting it, 6111 is the number that when that rings in the operator's office, she hangs up whatever she's doing and she answers that phone, okay? So, what's next? Code gray is a tornado warning, okay. Tornado warnings are fairly easy. When you hear this, please go to an interior room, stay away from all glass, and shut the door, okay? It's that simple. You don't have a basement, and at the hospital we have a basement, but not everybody's going to fit. We can't get them there. If we have patients, they close the curtains.
For our staff, and maybe you touch base, if we have a tornado out here, we all go to the back part of the building.
Oh, okay.
Staff, volunteers, everyone, going through the hospice house, around the back, past room 1, through the double, I suppose they're called fire doors. In that area, we just stay in the hallway there.
Okay.
And that's where we all stay.
But there's a weather radio, so if the weather's going on, you guys have got the most up-to-date information. So a green alert. A green alert's where me and Tony come in, except out here because it's going to be over by the time we get there. A green alert at the hospital is a fight, okay? Usually somebody has attacked our staff. Sometimes they've attacked one of us. What that is there are people within the hospital who are trained to deal with assaults, okay? And that's security, there's mental health staff who are used to dealing with aggressive situations, but it is an aggressive situation. It could be with a patient, it could be with a family member, it could be with anybody who is aggressive towards our staff at the hospital, okay? That's what a green alert is. Usually green alerts aren't something that you want to go running to. We do, you probably don't, okay? So, if you have this situation come up, again, the number is 6111, or just dial the operator, get a hold of her, and say, I have a green alert, zone 31, room 24, I need help now. And security, when we have a green alert, it doesn't matter what we're doing, we drop it, we go. Because somebody is getting attacked, and usually that is one of our worst days that we have. When we can't handle it, we call 911 for police assistance. And that has happened. It's going to happen. Again, one thing I want to stress, and you'll see this a lot, you've seen it on the fire, you'll see it on some of this stuff, it says give your name and address. I don't expect you to remember that. I've dealt with enough dispatchers. They're going to ask you for the information that they need. You don't have to memorize what all I have to tell them, but you know, it's good to know where you are and who you are and pass that on. Okay? Code Silver. Code Silver is the one that scares everybody now. Code Silver is someone with a gun. Okay? This is where I cannot tell you how to handle it. I cannot teach you how to handle it. What I want to tell you, what I want to teach you, I can do fairly quickly, and that is, if you hear a code silver, if you are involved in a person with a gun, stop and think where you're at, okay? If somebody with a gun right now would come to the back desk, what would you do? What would be the best thing to do? Okay, hit the floor is a common answer. And I don't want to be morbid, I don't want to be nasty about this. But I want you to remember at Columbine, where all those kids, every child, and for lack of better words, they're children, okay? Every child that died, every child, every person that died at, what was the college? Virginia Tech. Every one of them that died at those two situations got under the desk. And this is where it really gets, this puts a cold chill down my back because I've spent hours on the firing range. And Tony has too. And I assume some of you have guns and shoot. The gentleman, and that I use that term liberally in this case, but the guy who did the shooting at Virginia Tech was spotted just a couple weeks before the shooting practicing. And the way he practiced was he drew a face on a paper plate and he laid it on the ground and walked up to it and shot it. He didn't practice shooting people standing up. He was shooting people on the ground. Okay? So, sometimes there's a good in here, our best bet may be to block the door and not let anybody in. Okay? And get away from where they can see you. That's called sheltering in place. And that may be your best bet. I'm not saying that's a bad bet, but I'm also saying if I hear a noise in the far building, I'm out of here. I'm out the door, I'm down the street, I'll call from the neighbor's house, I'll call from Casey's over here on the corner. But do not think that you need to shelter in place. That's where common sense comes in, okay? And that's what I can't teach you. I can't teach you what to do because I can't tell you where you're going to be in that situation. If you're in Walmart and you're clearing the back in the grocery aisle and you hear something going on in the front, what are you going to do? Exactly. I'd find an exit and I'd get out of there. Yep. A chair will go through that window just about as quick as I will. Okay? That's a code silver. But if you have a code silver, the important thing, if you are the person responding to, if you are the person witnessing it and you can get to a phone, every bit of information you can give to the police is helpful. Most of the time, a shooter situation does not end until law enforcement ends it. Okay? Now, at the last school shooting we had where all those first graders and the 6 teachers, that guy shot himself just because he heard the sirens outside. Okay? He knew it was going to be over in moments and he was too chicken to face what was going to happen. So he ended it himself. Just get them coming. Just tell them, I got it here, I got this situation, here's what's going on. 911, please, get them coming. And tell them every bit of information you can. How many people are there? If you don't know how many people there are, how many shots have you heard? How quick are they? Where are they at? Where does it sound like, or where do you see them moving to? Every bit of information you can give is helpful. They are probably, the dispatcher in that situation is trained to not let you off the phone. So they're not going to want you to hang up. They're going to want you to give them a play-by-play while another dispatcher is passing that information on to the responding authorities. Okay? So, common sense, do the best you can with what you got. And I will tell you, something we was taught by Homeland Security, if somebody's coming at me, it doesn't matter what I have. It could be that bottle of water right there. If you throw it at their face, it gives you 2 more seconds. Because it's natural. I don't care whether you have a gun and you have a bottle of water. I don't want to get hit. That might hurt. It's natural to duck. Well, if they duck, maybe the next thing you hit them with is your chair. Maybe the next thing you do is go through the window. Whatever it is, if you can delay the shooting, you save time, okay? So think about it. Think about it when you're in church. Think about it wherever. Unfortunately, this is what our society's come to, and I'm sorry to say that, but it's a fact of life. and it's not going to change anytime soon. Okay? Sheltering in place, you know what that is. Sheltering in place in this room, stop and think about it. If we was to shelter in place in here, right beside the door is a window. If I'm standing here, if I shut the door, they can still see me. So I'm going to need to be over in this corner, okay? Once I block the door or lock the door. Now, the gentleman or the person, the shooter at Virginia Tech, I will tell you, he walked down the hallway to the classrooms, and when the doors were locked, he went on to the next one. Okay? So if the door was unlocked, he went into that room. But once he found out the door handle wouldn't let him in, he never spent any time on it. He went to the next one. A lot of this stuff lasts, majority of it's less than 6 minutes. Okay? When you're in your room and you're sheltering in place or you're outside, make sure they identify themselves, the law enforcement, okay? One of the teachers, they told the story about one of the teachers who was sheltering her first graders in a bathroom with her body, wouldn't let the police into her room until one of them slid his badge under the door. He identified himself multiple times, and she would not allow him in until he slid his badge under the door. I don't see a problem with that at all. Every one of these badges comes off. You better prove to me who you are, okay? If you're in doubt, you are in control of the situation at that time. Prove to me who you are, okay? Maybe they'll leave you alone and go away and come back a little bit later. That's fine, okay? Okay, security. We at the hospital are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We are always there. We are upgrading now. There's always been 2 of us, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's now going to be 3 of us. We have peak times when there are more than that. We have times when there's just the 3, but we will always have 3. If you have an emergency, you can get a hold of one of us, okay? The best way to get a hold of security, there's several ways. This is a security office, okay? The phone, I will tell you right now, we are usually trying to stay out patrolling the hospital, but it rings 3 times and then goes to the operator, and the operator calls us on the radio, okay? The other thing is, we carry cell phones, and we just actually went to a 4th cell phone, but the first 2 are always manned. The 3rd one, like I said, we're just upgrading to 3 officers, so by the time we get everybody hired and get everything moving, that 3rd one will be carried 24/7. These cell phones are always carried with us, but if I got somebody in my face screaming at me in trauma, I ain't going to answer my phone. So if you need me, call this, and if nobody answers that, it'll go to the operator, and she will say, hey, they're tied up right at the moment, can I take a message? Or she will get the message out that, hey, I got another situation you need to respond to right now, okay? She kind of sorts that to us. The emails, securityofficers@mercycare.org, that goes to every one of us. Okay? So if you send a message saying, I need my car to have a sticker put on it, a volunteer sticker, every officer will get that, so whatever time frame you are, the one that's working will see it. Okay? And one of us will get back to you. Valuables. I don't want to scare you, but once in a while, we have a purse come up missing or something. The best thing you can do is leave it at home, but I understand that you need to take your billfold with you. You need to take some of your stuff with you. If you don't have a locker to lock it up, please put it in your trunk. Don't put it in the back seat. Don't leave it on the front seat because windows break real easily. Okay, put it in the trunk. Okay? Lock up your vehicle, your locker, your office, or your desk. The more that's locked, the less likely it is to be removed by someone who doesn't have the authority to do that. And like I said, put it in your trunk, not in where they can see it. It's real easy to pick up a rock, pop a window, and what's GPS? The GPSs that you put on your windshield. I have a guy on camera, or at least we did. It took him less than 3 seconds. I had to watch the tape I don't know how many times because he was just walking through the cars. He popped the window, grabbed the GPS, and I never even seen him stop, honestly. It was so quick. He busted the window, reached in, grabbed the GPS off the windshield, and out. He never slowed down. So GPS, fuzzbusters, that type of stuff really gets removed easy, and it's, you know, they make $50. That'll buy them a night of partying. So, do you have a question?
I drive a van, and there's just no. I just have to leave stuff home rather than. Or is there any place?
Unfortunately, I don't know. I've had a couple vans, both of them on the passenger side. Underneath the front seat, there was a drawer that would fit a purse just perfect because my wife kept hers down there a lot. Now, I know Tony just got a van. You got the same?
Yeah.
Where is it on the passenger side?
Yep. If you got a bench seat or a bucket seat on the passenger side front seat, underneath that seat there's usually a drawer that you can pull out, and it's just perfect for putting a purse in.
Or just under the seat.
Yeah, under the seat will work too.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I put my purse between the driver's door and the driver's seat. It's all concealed between the door being shut and it's within the alignment of the driver's seat.
Yep. If they can't see it, they're not going to spend their time looking for it. I can tell you that, because like I said, I couldn't even tell the guy stopped walking when he grabbed that GPS. It's that quick. And we've had students, nursing students, who have put their laptop in their backpack, and I've found the backpack 2 blocks away, but the laptop's gone. You know, anything that looks like it might be of value, they will take. So just keep that in mind. If you don't want it and don't need a window in your vehicle, leave it on the seat. It'll be gone. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever had incidents of people, particularly kids, pulling both fire alarms?
You know, to be honest with you, ever since we took the fire alarm out of the general population on the psych ward, no. We had one guy that was under the assumption that he was there against his will and that we were holding him illegally, and he thought by pulling the fire alarm the police would show up, and he got the fire department, but
You've never had it happen?
we, knock on wood, no, we haven't.
Kids nowadays?
But I will tell you, we work very closely with the administration at McKinley right across the street, and if their kids are in there causing problems, I'll tell you this right now, you cannot walk into Mercy Hospital without me having a picture of you, okay? Every entrance has a camera on it, every entrance. And I will tell you, I think it's funny, but it's a spirit of competition. St. Luke's security calls us once in a while, wants to know if we can get a picture of somebody that they had causing problems, because they don't have near the cameras that Mercy has. And we have quite often sent them pictures of the people that they had breaking in so that they could solve their case. Because they've got a picture of them walking down the hallway from the back and they don't have any other angles. But and the kids at McKinley know that. They know if they come over to the cafeteria and steal a donut, we'll be talking to the principal and he will pick them out. It happens. It just happened last week.
How long when we walk into Mercy, we wave?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how many cameras there are, but I'm going to say there's close to 100.
Yeah.
I don't know about our facility. The nurses station has a camera that is for after hours. If people come up, the door gets locked at, I think, 10 o'clock? 8 o'clock, thank you. It's locked at 8, and then there's a buzzer by that door. And anyone can hit that buzzer, but the nurses, someone in the nurses station has to see you. And can they hear you in the nurses station as well? So you identify yourself, and then they will buzz you in after 8 o'clock. That's the only camera I'm aware of here.
Got one at the employee entrance and one at the garage, too.
Tom, stand up. I don't think everybody could hear.
We have 3 cameras that we monitor. Front door, employee door, and the garage door.
Okay. So you have access at the nurses station of those 3 doors?
Yep.
Okay.
I'd have to look. You've played with the cameras maybe a little more than I do. Do we have those? Their cameras?
Oh, I don't know.
Because the ones that...
Find out that.
Yeah, because if you have something going on, we can pop on the camera and see.
What's going on?
And if we have it where we can see it, we can tape it.
Okay.
I know at the plaza, so I am assuming here, but I can find that out real easy.
So Tom is an office assistant at the front desk, but I would touch base with Tammy Boosman, our director.
Okay.
And we should get that so that you guys can have that on film as well.
Yeah, because anything that happens on film at the hospital is saved for 60 days. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I look forward to hearing you guys again later on.